I was lying on my bed crying. A pair of football boots were scattered across the floor, and I was still in my soaking schoolboy strip, trying to figure out how within 30 minutes I'd gone from avoiding bruises on the pitch in a game which ought to have underlined my growing potential to receiving a good hiding from me dad. I'd been handed a lesson in football and in life I'd never forget. At the age of 7, my destiny was being shaped. When players talk about defining moments, they usually focused on their highlights. I could begin my story writing about European triumphs or FA Cup wins. I could recall my professional debut or the first time I signed a contract. I could relive a watershed game when I came off the pitch and knew I'd achieved my dreams, or at the very least felt they were within my grasp. But a career isn't so simple. Only as you get older can you reassess your experiences. Then you appreciate the impact of events you never recognised as life-changing at the time, but which made you the person you are. When my dad hurled that pair of soaking football boots at me, he probably thought he was merely handing me the punishment I deserved. It was more than that. This was the start of me becoming a footballer. The cause of my dad's rage was a shameful performance for Merton Villa, my first team. I was already showing promise, playing in the under-11s alongside lads 3 years older. But on this particular afternoon, there was a reason I didn't want to play. It was raining. Actually, it was hailstoning. I'd never faced torrential conditions before and couldn't summon the desire, energy or courage to drag my drenched body around a sodden pitch. For the first and only time, I faked injury. As the first challenge came in, I hit the turf, rolled round and threw in some tears to seal the deal. They'll have to substitute me. My cunning 7-year-old brain conspired. I can go home, put my feet up and get warm. No substitution was needed. Philly Carragher, my dad, was on the pitch with his own hook before any decision was necessary. He grabbed my shirt, dragged me from the field, pushed me headfirst into the car and drove home, leaving me in no doubt about what would follow. Once in my bedroom, it hailed football boots. My drowned jersey felt heavier by the second as it absorbed my tears. My dad told me he'd let me down as much as myself. No Carragher was going to be seen as such a coward, especially not in public. I needed to understand the value of pride and to learn to deal with tough circumstances. I knew the next time I played, no matter how demanding the situation, I wouldn't hide. I hated my dad at that moment, but I've been thanking him for the punishment ever since. Since turning professional, I've played with and against players who've shown the same gutless attitude I did when I was 7. At least my age was an excuse. Ability can take you so far. You need character to accompany it. I was compelled to appreciate and make the most of my skills. There's a saying, you are what you're brought up to be, and it applies to me. The best players are a product of their environment. The attitude of my mum, dad and the wider community drove into me at an early age became the foundation for how I carry myself on and off the pitch. I've been able to build my reputation on it, to export the distinctive principles of Marsh Lane where I grew up, to the football stadiums of England and Europe. People see where I'm from, Bootle on Merseyside, and consider it deprived. Economically it is, but there was nothing underprivileged about my childhood. I feel blessed to have been born there. I'm proud of my city, and even prouder of the district where I still belong. Wearing my Liverpool shirt gives me a responsibility, not only never to let myself down, but to make my family, friends, city and district proud of me. Without this outlook, I would never have become a successful footballer. My heart and soul were born and bred in Bootle. Maybe it was easier for me to develop a fighting instinct earlier than most. It was a necessity. I was lucky to be born. Everything that has followed has been a bonus. My book of Revelations begins with the most dramatic. If my mum hadn't been Roman Catholic, I might have been aborted. Paula Carragher was given the option of a termination due to complications halfway through her pregnancy. She was told I had spina bifida, a birth defect that affects the spinal cord. She was too religious to consider abortion, no matter how disabled I'd be. Our Lord told me to have the baby, she still claims. She's very holy, me mum. At one time in her life, she considered becoming a nun, and had already suffered 2 miscarriages before I came along. She's since had 3 sons, her holy trinity, if you like. That's a reward for extraordinary resilience and faith. She made us all attend Mass every Sunday when we were youngsters, and she's still sure someone above has been watching over me from the moment I was conceived. Unlike my extrovert dad, who pops up so much in this story you could be mistaken for thinking the title Carra refers to him,